We took it all. We brought them to our land. An endless night, ember hot and icy cold. The rage of the earth. We made this curse. Carved it in the blood on our backs. We did not see. We could not, but she did. And in the end...
What will I become?
Senua's Saga. Hellblade 2.
Play it now with Game Pass.
Sergeant and Mrs. Smith, you're going to love this house.
Is that a tub in the kitchen?
There's no field manual for finding the right home. But when you do, USAA Homeowners Insurance can help protect it the right way. Restrictions apply.
This episode is brought to you by Michelob Ultra. Every time you kick back with Michelob Ultra, you score big. So why not reward yourself with a nice cold Ultra? As the official beer sponsor of the NBA, enjoy Michelob Ultra at your local Buffalo Wild Wings while rooting for your favorite team during the NBA playoffs. Or pick up Michelob Ultra at your local 7-Eleven store today. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2024 Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
So exciting for the squad to be qualified for WXC1, to be qualified for the World Cup with our new coach, Sione. I think the group has been waiting for something to buy into, to commit to, and I think we've found that in him as a head coach, and I feel like it's allowing us to start to be part of what we know that we can be. So it's good to get that win against Australia, especially with such a strong second half performance, and I think start to show to ourselves that we're capable of doing about what we've set out to do. And so it's cool to be able to build into the rest of that year.
Welcome to U.S. Rugby Happy Hour Live. Interviews with the biggest names in American rugby.
The New England Free Jacks, Major League Rugby champions. One-on-one to score.
Here are your hosts, Bill Baker and that other guy.
Hey, welcome to U.S. Rugby Happy Hour Live. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're tuning in from. Thanks so much for listening in. If you're tuning in live, again, we really appreciate that too. Do us a favor, leave a comment or questions in the show today for either Fitzy, myself, or our guest later today, which is USA Eagle Rachel Johnson, just in a couple minutes, not later today, later in the show. Fitzy, how's it going?
Bill, I'm doing good. I like this new start time, 11:30. We're not doing a show tonight, are we?
No. This is I'm going to call this our sobriety show, because it's really hard to have a glass of whiskey while we're doing a show at 11:30 a.m. East Coast. Well,
speak for yourself, Bill.
It is almost 5 o'clock where our guest is, so I thought somewhere. Well, you are having that kind of day, apparently, so I would forgive you if you did have, early, what do you call it, toddy? No, it's hot toddy. Anyway.
A toddle? Yeah.
Good weekend, Fitzy?
Yeah, it was a great weekend. A lot of rugby watching, some Little League baseball coaching. It was good stuff.
Nice. Yeah, same here. A lot of rugby watching and hit the beach. Warm enough up here for a while. Get up to the beach, had a good time grilling, volleyball, all that fun stuff. So, yeah, it's been great. Listen, a little business before we get to our first guest. Our main sponsor for our show right now is QuickTap. Check them out online at getquicktap.com. They basically are the only sports video and analytics platform designed specifically for rugby, and very affordable. Again, this is for pros, amateurs, coaches, players alike. So check out getquicktap.com and use the offer code HAPPYHOUR, that's one word, when signing up for a free trial, which will get you 10% off your annual subscription, and QuickTap will sweeten the deal by tracking your first match for you. QuickTap, the most powerful way to beat your opponents before ever setting foot on the pitch. And also, listeners, or if you're watching this online on YouTube, Facebook, or wherever, please do us a favor and like and subscribe, follow this show, and share it with your friends. Do this on YouTube, do this in your podcast player, and it really helps our show spread by doing that, leaving comments, reviewing the show, and let us know. Let us know what you think about the show and all that fun stuff. So, with that said, again, listeners tuning in right now, I know we have a couple. You can see we have a couple listening in live at the point. I know some will start coming in. Leave a comment, leave questions in the comment sections, and we'll do our best to get on the show today. We're on for about another 27 minutes. We're going to do about a 30-minute show today with our guest to talk all things USA Rugby and Extra Cheese Premiership and all that fun stuff. So without further ado, let's get to our first guest. Or, jeez, I'm way off, Fitzy. It's not first guess. It's the only guess.
It's all good, Bill. Just roll with it, man.
This time is killing me. All right. Well, welcome back to the show. If you don't recall, she has been on the show before in audio only, but so this is the first time we'll be able to see that famous smile. Exeter Chiefs forward and USA Eagle, Rachel Johnson, here to join us. Hey, Rachel. Hey.
Hello. Oh.
World got turned upside down.
Oh,
I
Rachel,
thought the southern hemisphere was upside down. Not
yeah, that's right. Oh, how are you today? What's going on?
Yeah, no, I'm doing well. Yeah, just doing a bunch of odd bits and bobs today, a little bit of rehab, but yeah, Wednesdays are non-training day, so yeah, getting some good recovery in today.
Rehab, just general bumps and bruises?
Yeah, you got to stay on top of your stuff, so yeah.
Well, I was just telling Fitzy earlier that I played volleyball for the first time this summer, or if you want to call it that, and I've been sore for 4 days, so I need to go see my physio.
Maybe better.
Yeah. So, Rachel, what a year, especially for you personally. I mean, 50 caps plus now with Exeter. Exeter Women's Player of the Year. USA defeats Australia. USA qualifies for XV1 and World Cup. I don't know. I don't even have a question there. What a year. How are you feeling about all that?
Yeah, no, totally. And I think a lot of those things have been in the works for a while, and it's great to see. Yeah, I mean, at first, which is with the USA bits, like, so excited for this. Ooh, there we go. So excited for the squad to be qualified for WXC1, to be qualified for the World Cup. I think with our new coach, Sione, I think the group has been waiting for something to buy into, to commit to, and I think we've found that in him as a head coach, and I feel like it's allowing us to start to be part of what we know that we can be. So it's good to get that win against Australia, especially with such a strong second half performance, and I think start to like show to ourselves that we're capable of doing about what we're set out to do. And so it's cool to be able to build into the rest of that year. And then, yeah, Chiefs, this is my fourth season at Chiefs. I love Chiefs. And it's great to be, it's an exciting place to be on tour with the USA and have such an exciting time there, but then come back to a club that I'm really excited to finish the season for.
Rachel, I wanted you mentioned the strong second half of the win against Australia. I got to jump in and ask, what was the mood like for the squad going into halftime? I mean, down 20-8, and then just flying out of the gates in that second half there. What was said in the locker room to just spark that comeback, I guess?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I feel like you're not the first person to ask me that question. But I really feel before that game is maybe the first time in a while I felt like collectively from the squad. I mean, I believe in our squad every match, but I feel like collectively from our squad where I really felt my teammates felt like we could win this game and that we were going to win this game. And so I feel like at halftime, despite what the scoreline showed, I think we just reminded ourselves of the headspace we were in before the game started. And nothing crazy, nothing wild needed to be said. It was just here are some bits that we need to do better, and let's come back to how we felt before the game, and let's do the thing. And I feel like in the start of the second half, we were just yeah, we're going to do this now. And then we did it. So, yeah, I don't know. There's nothing like some inspiring word, but I just think it's just coming back to that, that mentality. And I think that's really great for the squad because we're going to need to continue to bring that forward in future matches.
And talk about the forward pack for USA. So many try scorers, and I bring that up because I believe it was Hope who scored the first try in the second half. Mm-hmm. Did you know she had a spin move like that? Yeah, Sione also. He was like, yeah, I don't know where that came from.
No, Hope's a multi-dimensional athlete, and yeah, she loves a good pick and go, and she loves a good hard carry, but she's very dynamic, so she brings the most to those micro details that, yeah, you don't always get to see.
And speaking of dynamic, Kate Zachary, who's, at least with Trail Finders or when she was with Exeter, coaches had her playing everywhere. But she's been out short time because of injury. Back in that match against Australia, can you talk about the importance of a player, say, of Kate's expertise, her leadership, to have her back in the mix?
Yeah, no, definitely. It was awesome to have her back. I think Kate's obviously played every match I've ever played for the USA, so it was very different not having her in the playing squad. But that being said, she was still present during the tour before that, and I feel like playing a slightly different role, but she was still a teammate and present and a leader on the squad. And then being able to come back into that playing bit, I think was really great to see for her as an individual, but then also as a squad, because I feel like with different bits with injuries, like players are always going to have to play slightly different roles. And I think it brings a new perspective into bits when you're back in, and yeah, great to have her back out on the pitch.
And let's go back a few matches. Canada on USA soil, first match on USA soil for a while. Big day for you personally. I mean, were you able to have family in the house? The environment there obviously didn't turn out on the score line didn't turn out well, but how fun was that day as far as having family and friends, whoever else were there?
Yeah, no, we haven't had a home match in a while. So I think that was really good for the squad as a whole. And just different pressures, different supports, but different pressures as well. Didn't get to have, well, actually, no, I had a cousin who was able to come with her son. So that was really, my immediate family wasn't able to make it, but that's all right. They were able to watch through technology. So I'm grateful for that. But just being able to have people in the crowd that in a different way. Like I said, I've been at Chiefs now for 4 years, and we're starting to get like really great crowds here. So I feel like that's something I'm a little like used to now with club, of like, obviously it's not my family, but having support and things in the crowd. And I didn't realize how much from a US base that I missed that feeling. Because often when we go other places, you got a couple people in the crowd, but most of it is for home soil. So it was different to even just have fans in the crowd who were like very pro USA, regardless of if I knew them personally or not. So thank you to everyone.
Rachel, you mentioned earlier, a couple moments ago, just kind of like playing different roles, right? Whether that's club or for country. I mean, you've played flanker, you played, number 8 against Australia, vice captain for it. My question here then, I guess, is, being named a vice captain and for other matches, stepping in kind of to more of like a leadership role, right, for this squad. Is that something where you kind of raised your hand, or was it more based upon just, how you carry yourself or your work rate around the pitch?
Yeah, I think there's a few of us who've been involved with the squad for a while now, and we have different forms of like off-field leadership bits. Yeah, so I think some of those transitions just kind of happen sort of naturally. I love, being able to serve the team from a vice captaincy role. Obviously, stepped into the captaincy role for the Canada and New Zealand game, which was a much different experience. Not something I envy, obviously a privilege and an honor. But yeah, I feel like you just gotta be the type of player you are and play to that, and try not to let any of those other things take away from what you just do naturally. So tried to channel that, but obviously there's like extra distractions just with like media and having to do little, bits and bobs that you don't always fully acknowledge. So yeah, a privilege, but I really like being vice captain. That's like, I feel like a good place for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we spoke with Sione last week, and he talked a little bit about about bringing USA Women's Eagles back to glory, right? And with these 2 wins, right, South Africa, and obviously the win against Australia, WXV1 qualification Rugby World Cup under belt now. Do you feel like the team is kind of like getting back on track, or getting back along that path of where you'd like the team to head?
Yeah, and I think, to me, I'm a little more future oriented. People are going to have different experiences with this team and different bits with our legacy or where we've been. But for me as an athlete, I feel like I'm looking to where we're headed. So I don't feel super like caught up in getting back to where I think we once were or whatnot. Like, women's rugby is dramatically changing every year. There's more funding, there's some more support, there's young people coming in with different types of skill level and experience. So I'm just interested in where USA Rugby is headed, and I'm feeling really hopeful and excited about where we're headed right now.
Right, we're gonna go back another week. Sorry, we'll go forward. Just 1 week, just 1 week back. Sorry.
Rachel doesn't drive with a rearview mirror. She doesn't even look back.
She's just like, can we please talk about something else? All right. Obviously, you needed help to get an XB1, and at least at this point, qualify for World Cup 25. Did you stay up late to watch New Zealand defeat Australia?
That was happening, in the very early morning here. So I didn't catch it live. I'm trying to get back on a normal sleep schedule. But
your coach isn't listening. You can tell us.
But no, I was able to see a pretty soon after replay. And then obviously when I've got my U.S. jersey on. Not a lot of support for the Canadians, but when I've got my Chiefs jersey on, obviously having quite a few Canadian teammates, really, really excited for them. So our Chiefs chat was definitely going off when that happened. And yeah, super exciting. And congrats to them. And awesome to see what Canada's been able to do with their program. So yeah, there'll always be a bit of rivalry there, but you've got to respect a good game of rugby, and that was a good game of rugby.
Well, speaking of Canada, obviously you have teammates in your team like you just mentioned. The number 2 in the world now is fantastic for them. Any team in North America doing great like that's good for us, preferably this side of North America. But but talk about that. Talk about Canada. You know, what do they do so well as a squad?
Yeah, I think they definitely are playing a more cohesive game. Their forward pack has put in a lot of work. They have good set piece and are able to attack from that. And I think they're starting to blend a good mixture of structure and keeping the ball alive, and starting to figure out like what makes them them. Yeah, so I think, set piece bits and then how they're integrating their forward and backs to keep the ball alive are some of their biggest threats.
And Rachel, I guess just last question on that, and then we'll look forward. But does their I know progress is the right word to put it. I guess their results, does that motivate your squad or the Women's Eagles?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's always going to be some rivalry between the U.S. and Canada, but I think, like I said earlier, women's rugby is growing at like an exponential rate right now. So I feel inspired by a lot of nation growth, and I think we can like get tied down into like different countries and whatnot. But at some point, I'm excited to see like women's rugby getting like the viewership and support and focus that it needs to get. And so I feel like watching lots of teams succeed like is inspiring to me in that way and brings up other emotions as well. But I think that's like a good step forward for the sport. And you want to see competitive matches and not just a couple nations in the world competing things out.
Yeah, that's a good call. Yeah, so looking forward, right? So tour this summer. It hasn't publicly been announced, but we've heard from a couple folks. It's in Asia, Japan, it sounds like. I think Sione told us, it's not official yet, but right, like
not official, but yeah, whatever he said is true. So yeah.
Yeah, so I guess my question there is, now that qualification for Rugby World Cup 25 has been secured, it seems like the focus maybe for this upcoming summer tour would be to introduce maybe some new players into the pool or test things out a little bit. I guess, you just had qualification and now you're back in club duty, but, have preparation started to begin for the summer tour, or is it still kind of a break and then you kind of regroup?
Yeah, so we've obviously had our review process from the Australia game. It's always hard at the end of tour because you play a game and then you normally leave the next day. So we're able to have like a quick hot review and have done some individual bits. So we're still wrapping up some of the individual feedback and unit feedback from the Australia match, because you want to make sure that we get a clear focus point from that before we move on to the next thing. And then, getting a little bit of a break, but we'll start to get into some preparation in the next couple of weeks. But which is nice because for us still back in the Prem, need to come back here and refocus on, obviously we have our last league game this week and then straight to a semifinal next week. So need to be able to put back on my Chiefs hat for a little bit before I go back to USA.
Yeah, because I mean, you mentioned it's been a long year, right? Grueling in a sense, physically demanding, right? So summer tour, right? Well, first, you still have the rest of your club duties here with Exeter, then the summer tour, and then WXV1 starting in September. That's a lot to take in, right? Like, I guess not only is it the physical preparation, but the mental, right? Just getting through it all. So I guess the question there is just, how do you do it?
It's been a long couple of years, and then next prep will be really, will be a lot on, but we get a few weeks off in July. So that will be, I'm really looking forward to that. My life almost revolves around rugby. You got those little small moments, but it will be nice. I'm going to go see my mom in Colorado in July. We have a little trip planned to get out into nature and just like fully disconnect. And I think it's really important to allow yourself that space to remind yourself that you're like more than just an athlete and you've got other things going on in your life, even if a lot of things are centered around rugby, because we wouldn't be where we are if we're not obsessed and all in. But really important to be able to be all in, that you take a little bit of time to check out, because no one can go. So my body's looking forward to that. My mind's looking forward to that. But like I said, I'm excited for what Chiefs can do to end this season, and I'm really excited for what the U.S. is doing. And so both of those things are super motivating. So I know that checking out is going to be important for that, but getting right back into it is going to be not easy in the sense, but I'm excited for it. So I'll be ready to go.
That's a question about Chiefs. You mentioned earlier 4 years, love playing with them, great crowds. One of the things I've noticed post-match, is how involved the fans are, how the kids are asking for autographs, how it's just, that's got to feel great. It's not a lot of environments, where, at least with women's rugby, that happens. So to see that has got to be motivating for you, just to have that reaction with the fans.
Yeah, no, totally. It's a relationship. Yeah, lots of relationships. I really love our fans here in Exeter. You see people around town that and you get to chit chat with them. And it becomes, like I said, relationships. It becomes personal. You recognize people, and we are able to do different, we call them Super Saturdays, but clinics with a lot of the young girls' teams around in this area before our games, before other games. So you get to start to know some of the young players as well. So it's really awesome to be able to like coach with them and interact, and then go see them at the game as well.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's fun to watch. All right, back on the pitch, semifinals you mentioned a minute ago, coming up in a couple weeks, likely to play Gloucester Harper, I believe.
Correct.
Who only one loss this season. So what do they do so well this season, and how is your team preparing for them?
Yeah, no, credit to Gloucester Harper. They've had a great season. Obviously, won in the final last year. So they have a great forward pack. Claky has an awesome boot at 10. Heavy, they're physical, a great double shot team, physical and attack. So yeah, lots of strengths there, but we also have a great forward pack, dynamic backs. So I feel like it's going to be a real battle of physicality, to see who comes out on top on that one. Yeah, but I back my team any day.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
We took it all. We brought them to our land. An endless night, ember hot and icy cold. The rage of the earth. We made this curse. Carved it in the blood on our backs. We did not see. We could not, but she did. And in the end,
What will I become?
Senwa Saga. Hellblade 2.
Play it now with Game Pass.
Now back to the show.
Eagles teammates, so obviously there's a number of you playing in the Prem. Nobody with Gloucester Harper right now. I know Maya Lerner was with him at one point and a few others. But, I mean, it's going to be fun to go head-to-head with, any of the Sale Sharks, because there's a number on that team, as a number on Exeter, maybe against Rachel or Tess in one team, that kind of. Are you up for those matches more than anything else, or is it just like, and they're not even your teammates? They're like, I'm going to knock her down.
I mean, rugby's a great game, and it's great to play against your friends. You can, there's always like a little bit of chit chat in a game, and so it's fun to know like that it's not. I mean, it's never personal, but it's like really not personal, and it's just for the competitiveness of the match. So those times are always fun, but I think with any team, you start to have like certain rivalries with certain teams. So regardless of like who on the opposite team, like you're going to get hyped up for certain games. And I think like having a semifinal against Gloucester, I know some people were like, oh, you guys lost in the final last year. That's so much pressure, blah, blah, blah. But I think we're really keen to play Gloucester. We know we'll obviously have an away semi, so that's not the ideal scenario, but we've beat them away before. So we know that that's possible within the squad. And so those little bits too also like raise you up to a performance. And then the Series Bristol semifinal will be great as well. So I think both of those are games that could go either way, even if people feel like one team's been performing really well this season.
Rachel, I wanted to move on and talk a little bit more. You've spoken about the excitement and the future of the women's game here in the U.S. And certainly I think that one of the biggest developments over the last month or so has been the announcement of Women's Elite Rugby Evolved. They had their group. We spoke with them a couple of weeks ago around the announcement. It sounds like they had a sit down with a couple of the WPL representatives, just kind of like talk through like what the league is about, set to begin in 2025. But, have your teammates, USA Women's Eagles teammates, had conversations about what it'd be like, about, I guess, women's elite rugby? Let's start there.
Yeah. To be honest, I was sort of surprised with some of the announcements, not knowing a whole lot about it, but was grateful. We talked about playing at home. We obviously were able to have a few more events, being a home match in LA. So I was able to talk to some people from the organization. So it was great to hear a little bit more about it directly from them. Obviously it would be great to play rugby in the US. I've got a lot of questions still, and interested to see like what is possible, especially in 25. Seems very soon to me. But everything's got to start somewhere. So yeah, I'm interested and intrigued, and I think things take time. And so I guess that's kind of where I'm at right now. I've got eyes on it, and it would be I'm very supportive of having obviously a professional league in the US that can support women's rugby. And would be interested to see like what it looks like just across our nation being so large. And it's different from the leagues that I'm more familiar with in like the UK or even in New Zealand.
Yeah, because it's right now, the opportunities to be able to play high level professional rugby are overseas. But if women's elite rugby is able to take off and it's becomes fully professional, I think that's one of the things. In year one, it wouldn't quite be fully professional yet, but the funding's coming and all that stuff. I guess the question then becomes, would you prefer to play back home in the States or wherever you can play the highest level of rugby and be paid for it?
Yeah, I think it's interesting in conversations around professional, like what that means. I think a lot of times it was interesting having conversations with some of the people from the league as well. They were asking me like what would be like my top 5 things for like wanting to play for a certain team or a league. And he like interrupted me before my list was even over and was like, you haven't mentioned salary yet. And that isn't in my top 5 concerns. I think a lot of times people come back to, a salary or something position, but I just don't think that that's where like the women's game is at yet. Like, I'm not saying I don't want money, like please pay me. But it's just quality of like a daily training environment, like physio care, and management, like coaching quality, referee quality, like quality of the league. All of those things have a massive impact on the professionalness of a league. Like I obviously play in a professional league here in the UK, but there are aspects of the game that still need to be a lot more professional, and that aren't like equally professional across all the teams here. And this league has like developed a lot from what it was, say, 5 years ago, and especially before it was the Allianz Prem, and before that when it was under different management. So I think just to like start playing players and to say that that's like a professional league, I think is like not really getting into like the nitty gritty of like what makes a league professional or viable or sustainable. I don't have like the answer to all of those little bits, but I think those are the things that are going to have to like play out with an American league. That would make it something. Yeah, I would love to play rugby in the US, but I want to play high quality rugby with support, and doesn't leave like injured or whatnot.
Facilities, medical, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Playing rugby in the United States, in your mind and with, I guess, your experience, I mean, I know you didn't start until you were in college, but your experience maybe in the Prem and with USA, and maybe stuff you're seeing over there in Europe, how do we get more kids, especially girls, with rugby balls in their hands? How do we get them into the game, especially, like I said, from a player's perspective, in your opinion, how can that happen? What's the best way do you think we can get kids playing?
Yeah, I mean, I think school is an awesome way, right? Like getting rugby into schools, obviously not contact rugby, but getting touch, getting all of the different kinds of rugby that's available to us in schools. I think the more we can interact with it in media, whether that's like having easy, accessible access to games. Like I can go to any pub, restaurant, there's going to be a rugby game on at some point on one of the TVs versus that is just not the case in the US. You're just not going to get the same exposure for young girls when they're thinking about like what sport to sign up for. So I think those early exposure bits, both in terms of like skill and also just awareness, are going to be huge. And those things take time because you're going to have to start that young and work through a generation. And I think the more we can keep promoting it, the connection between high school, university, and then after university, I know that pathway has been looked at a lot of different ways, sometimes better than others, but I think figuring out how we make that pathway accessible and open to players is going to be huge. I think that's maybe I'll get some pushback against this, but I think that's maybe something Canada's done a little bit better in some of their pathway bits. And again, we're different countries, despite we're both large, and in North America, we've got different bits there. But I think figuring out how to best support that pathway is going to be huge.
One thing I've noticed, coaching girls in soccer, a little bit of rugby over the years, those who've gone on to play rugby, after I tell them, stop playing this stupid soccer game, go play rugby. One of the comments is, I love how it's the same. There's not different rules between men's and women's or girls and boys. I mean, at a younger age, obviously, there's different, touch, whatever else. And we asked Sione about this rumor, whatever else, about a new ball size coming out. And he didn't like the idea of it, but he also said it's not up to him, it's the women's. And if you, from what he heard, most people think it's absurd. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I guess I feel two different ways about it. First off, I feel like it's a distracting conversation. I just think there are so many things that could.
It was Fitzy. Fitzy wanted me to talk about it. I didn't.
It's fine. I know. You're not the first person to ask me. I just feel like, in terms of, again, things that I could list that I think would like support girls and women's rugby, like its ball size is nowhere on that list. And I feel like when I read some of those bits, I'm just like, why are we putting time, energy, admin into this when we could be talking about like referee quality, like coaching quality, like training facility, training. Yeah, so many different bits that could use time and energy and admin power. I think we often like downplay the importance of that I'm just like, why are we talking about this? And then second of all, I feel like a lot of things are like, oh, more people could grip the ball, it'd be more exciting, be this. Like, women's rugby is exciting. And I feel like it just comes from this base assumption that like women's rugby is somehow like not exciting. Like, matches are exciting. The Canadian-New Zealand game was exciting. Like, the World Cup final was an exciting game. And the game doesn't need to look identical to the men's game to be exciting. So I just find a lot of the arguments coming back to those things. Like, and I've played touch rugby. You play with both men and women play with a smaller touch ball. It allows me to do slightly different things with the ball, but that's a different game, and I don't need that rugby union. Yeah.
All right, last thing. Did you break your finger? I was hoping you'd give Fitzy the middle finger by showing us the. Oh, come on, you could.
You should.
I can read between the lines.
you should see it in the gym because I can only like grip things a certain. I won't show.
Oh no, yeah.
You can only grip things a certain way, so it looks like I'm being unkind to everyone in the room. No, I had a little infection, so just keeping that healed up. But it'll be okay.
Good. Rachel Johnson, thank you so much. It's been a blast having you back on, and really fun to watch you out there play. Good luck this weekend. Good luck in the semis, and good luck with USA coming up this summer and fall.
Yeah, thank you so much, and thank you for giving us all a platform to come and chat. So
of course, we enjoy it. All right, take care of yourself. We'll see you again soon.
Bye.
Thanks, Rachel.
All right. I don't think I cut her off that time, so that's good.
I don't think you did either. Yeah, but I'm afraid Rachel's gonna come after me now. All of a sudden, really.
Just watch your back.
Don't sit the vice captain on me, man. I'm gonna come on. Let's leave that in my life.
She's trying to give you that. Yes, it's all your fault. All right, so yes, good stuff with Rachel. She's always fun to have in the show. A lot of fun. Obviously, even without seeing her, you can tell she enjoys talking about the game and smiling, all the stuff about it. Definitely someone, like I mentioned a minute ago with her, it's like with these girls, like she's one of the players that they know, she's tough, she's strong, she's fast, she loves the game, and she's so into it. So yeah, always fun having her back on. Any last comments, Missy?
I don't think so. I think good show, good interview. Fun to do at 11:30 in the morning.
Yeah, it's lunchtime.
Yeah. It's lunchtime. You can have your whiskey now, Bill.
Ooh. Oh, yeah. I have it behind me now, right there.
Oh.
I had to move it because I have a feeling when my daughter's drinking it. So she's 21. Everybody, calm down. All right, let's end it right now. Everybody, thank you so much for listening in. Please do us a favor. Like, follow, and subscribe to the show either on YouTube or your favorite podcast player. Share with a friend. Play back old episodes. Follow us both on @RugbyMorning and @Eagles Overseas. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day. We'll check in next time.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
It's time for today's Lucky Land horoscope with Victoria Cash.
Life's gotten mundane, so shake up the daily routine and be adventurous with a trip to Lucky Land. You know what they say, your chance to win starts with a spin. So go to LuckyLandSlots.com to play over 100 social casino-style games for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. Get lucky today at LuckyLandSlots.com.
Available to players in the U.S., excluding Washington and Michigan. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply.